In 2023, we saw the rise and fall of this housing market, from mortgage rates to corporate investors to home prices that went up, then down, then up again. We're going to be taking a look back of all the things that happened in 2023. And I'm metaphorically going to show you how it compares to a loaf of sourdough bread. So come with me to the kitchen while we take a look back what actually happened in 2023's housing market. NAR added that the current 10-month streak of declines is the longest in record of the data dating back to 1999. You know how sourdough bread rises and it's used with fermented starter yeast like this, just like this housing market. The housing market in January was vehemently pent up with demand. So much demand that home prices continue to rise. By the way, we're adding 200 grams of starter dough here. Make sure you use a scale. Pretty much going to be a flat market for quite some time. Yeah. And then, like only at 3% gains in some areas, which isn't terrible with the amount of increases that we've had across a lot of these housing markets.
3 to 6% appreciation is kind of average in most markets. So that would just mean that we are returning to the old school market, that everything is kind of normal. So it's a normalization of the market, which I think we all saw coming. I mean, the people that are creating these articles, they have to get everyone to click, right? It's like the crash YouTubers, right? They're just trying to get you to click, and they're going to talk about this crash that never happens. And the next time they'll talk about it again and it never happens. So it's kind of the same thing that these journalists are doing, to where they have to say that home price gains are tanking, right? So now your brain reads it that home prices are tanking, and the economists are saying that things, I think, are going to be a little more normal. And that's not a bad thing. The return to affordability, that would seem like a good thing. So I don't know why it's not more celebrated instead of, well, I do know, because they're trying to get you to click. They have to sell the ad. 200 grams of this starter. I think I can. And just like yeast, activating dough. 2023, where we're talking about interest rates. And boy, oh boy, did that really stir up some conversation. Just like I'm stirring in my yeast into the flour. By the way, that was 650 grams of water to 200 grams of starter. First-time homebuyers made up the smallest share of sales on record at 26%, even as homes values have started to cool, according to the National Association of Realtors. And rising borrowing costs, still high prices, have pushed the housing to unaffordable levels. Records going back as far as 4 decades. This is the most unaffordable the housing market has ever been. With all the spring home buying season approaching, young families often try to find their first houses in the summer with brand new school year. Inventory for affordable homes is non-existent, means the market is still tight. That's pushing the American dream of a single family house with a yard, even just simple starter condo, increasingly to people who already have an economic advantage. So only the rich are going to be able to buy houses. Finally, the news media was deciding to talk about affordability. So they were just flouring up things. Ooh, I put the flour in before I put it on the scale. It's supposed to be 1,000 grams of flour. I got ahead of myself. We'll just go ahead and say that's like 10 grams. Whoops. The good thing about sourdough, just like the housing market, you could give and take a few things. You may not get everything you wanted, but in the end, it may turn out exactly the way you were supposed to. That was totally unintentional, by the way. Again, 1,000 grams of bread flour.
Interest rates go down, 5 to 7 million more people hit the market.
That's when mortgage applications go up too. Like as soon as it goes down like a half a point, it's like all of a sudden, people come out of the woodwork.
So I think that would cause, if rates go down and there's limited inventory, and then all of a sudden you have surge of houses that hit, you're going to have people that are going to fall all over theirs. Because here's the number even today, 30% of the home buyers were first-time home buyer. You still had 15 to 20% of investors buying houses. So investors are not going to stop buying houses, because they understand where things are headed with rents. Rents are not going down.
June, July, August, even all the way into September, people were getting pretty salty about home affordability and interest rates. And this is what else they were saying. 20 grams, by the way, 20 grams of salt. In Boston, they're going to be turning a lot of the commercial real estate into residential housing. What do you think about it so far?
I mean, I think that's a great solution for it, because, you have downtown condos and you have some really attractive properties that, are kind of in those same positions as far as location goes. The difficulty is retrofitting these office buildings to be appropriate, I guess you could say, for residential life. You think, well, there's a whole bunch of offices, just turn that office into a room so that somebody's got like a studio apartment. But then you have to put stuff in there that they cook, and you have to put sewage, and you have to put plumbing and waste and air conditioning, or not. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you have to fit in there. And in order to do that, you're essentially ripping each floor down to the studs, and even multiple floors, because you can't just bring in getting water, for instance, from nowhere. It's got to come from somewhere. And you can't overload the one toilet that is on that floor for the whole office to use during the day. And also you have to consider not only does the building itself has to be retrofitted, but the city has to be ready for it, because now you don't just have a couple of people every hour in there flushing. You have hundreds of people flushing, taking baths, taking showers, running sink water, washing the dishes. And this creates a huge issue for overloading the pipes that are under that office building. So there's a ton of consideration. So I think it's going to be a very small percentage.
Now it's time to mix all the ingredients together. And the ingredients for this housing market by September, we're not looking any more positive for anybody that was trying to find an affordable home. And it wasn't really doing that great for anybody that was trying to find a good interest rate either. The whole year pretty much looked the same. As buyers went and try to mix themselves into buying an affordable home, interest rates didn't get any better. Home affordability didn't get any better. Even though interest rates were expected to drop by then, still wasn't happening. By the way, just put this together. We're not doing much with it other than mixy. But baby boomers that are like, you know what, I have this huge house, right? And they can't even get out of it because they're like, where am I going to go? There's nothing for me to purchase. There's no small homes.
Well, and that's really been the issue. We were even experiencing that issue when the market was booming prior to May of 22, when the interest rates went up, right? Like downsizing was still an issue because all of their realized equity from the insane market was getting dumped right back into something else, right?
You know what? You can't be afraid to get your hands dirty in a process like this. Much like that lawsuit that happened to real estate agents, that was $1.78 billion. They lost that lawsuit. And what it maintained was the fact that when a buyer is being represented, the seller was paying the commissions and the closing fees for those buyers. The lawsuit stated that wasn't fair and that brokerages were working in collusion with one another to make that happen. But they lost that lawsuit. $1.78 billion. Hefty price tag. But did you know that the bread industry, they make over $25 billion in bread sales? So it's kind of a drop in the bucket for them. It will all come together in the end, I promise. It'll be interesting, but I want to get your take on it. Do you think that home sellers should be paying the buyer's commissions for the buyer's agent? Or do you think that the buyer should be paying this and it's something that can be negotiated like it's always been in the 70s? Noreen says, I tried to negotiate with a local agency to lower the commission. I could not afford to pay 6%, but they refused. Went for sale by owner, posted the listing, and MLS listing agent saved me 3%. You can totally do that. And it's always been our brokerages that call it a flat fee MLS. So basically what you're doing is paying $500 to have your listing put on the MLS. And when it is put on the MLS, then it becomes syndicated and it automatically goes to like realtor.com. It goes to all the agencies that your MLS is associated with. So you can pay that flat fee and then put it on the MLS, and then another agent can come in, like sell the house. They'll represent the other side of that transaction. Commission, it comes straight out of those sellers' proceeds when that happens. If we looked at it as that they're hoping that the world will be in the future, you could technically sell your house for sale by owner, pay that flat fee MLS, and then when the buyer comes along, if they don't have an agent, you basically are doing it on your own. But if they do have an agent, either the buyer has to pay for that agent or they're going to negotiate a commission price for that agent to be represented by the buyer. By December, the end of December, we were in a big giant hole and things are wrapping up to cause more of a rise of a problem like they did in 2023. We're going to watch this bread rise. It's got to sit for 2 hours before you start kneading it. With the big hole that we had in real estate, what they're referring to is the amount of available homes that are for sale. Depending on what statistic you look at, we're short newly constructed homes. Some say, like if you look at the National Association of Home Builders, they say it's around 3 million. But if you like at the National Association of Realtors, they'll say it's around 5 million. And then I've seen as high as 7 million homes short. And you're probably thinking, well, I've seen lots of new construction. What they're not telling you is that not only is it short that many homes, it's that many affordable homes. Sure, yes. They've been building, but the ones that they're building are not for the average first-time home buyer. And what always drives housing market, no matter how bad it is first-time home buyers. And they have basically eliminated those. All right, we've been resting for 2 hours. It's time to stretch and pull. Much like the housing market was stretched and pulled all of 2023. You're gonna do this 3 times. 3 times. I don't think I put enough flour in here. Stretch and pull. Yay! The pan is about as hot as the housing market was during the pandemic. And is 2024 going to be as hot as that was with lowering of interest rates? I don't know. And you're going to put the cover on because we're going to be putting a lid on 2023's housing market. Wait, do you want to see in the pan? I'm sure you do. Hold on. All right, it's in the pan. The lid is going on. It's going to go in that oven. I'm going to turn down the oven to 465 degrees. Okay, so the 2023 housing market had a lot of things happen. We had interest rates that went up and down. We started in the 8s, it ended in the high 6s, by the way. We had baby boomers that couldn't move, that wanted to move. We have record number of homelessness across the United States. We have a lack of affordable housing. We have investors that are buying up as many affordable homes across the United States. And I just don't see it changing anytime soon with that in 2024. But that's some of the things that happened in 2023. We're going to see some of it continuing in 2024, but I want to know what your predictions are. Do you think that we're heading for a housing crash, or do you think the housing prices are baked in as much as my sourdough bread? We're going to see prices even going higher next year. Be interested to hear what you have to say. Much like many housing markets, it's going to look different for a lot of people. Some people's housing market is going to look really burnt. Like, oh my gosh, prices are so incredibly high, I can't buy anything, and it's going to be super unaffordable for you. But for other areas of the country, it's going to look just right. You can find something affordable, and it's going to be really important for you to really pay attention and get a good real estate agent in your area. That was hot and good. That can help you navigate real estate market, because it's going to look different for you no matter where you live. To watch more videos about the housing market, you're going to want to watch these videos right here. My name is Kristina Smallhorn, your real estate whisperer. And I tell you all this because good real estate information matters, and a good loaf of bread.